to worry about it because I listen to them again,
Mm-hmm.
I always listen to the groups again, and I listen to our recordings again. And, the couple questions that I did have, I have, oh, one is about, this is about the theory. I know the X theory,
Okay.
and I know the Y theory. But then you mentioned the theory
Weber's
for,
bureaucracy.
yeah, that's the one. Okay, that's where, because that's where, like, you work.
Mm-hmm.
You said, now, so, all right, so that would be the state.
So that would be anything that probably, so anything that has a lot of red tape, where you have to, jump through hoops to get anything done.
Oh,
So the example I usually give is, wanting a computer. So, it's time for my computer to be up. We get new ones pretty much every like 2 or 3 years, just because if, this is working for the state. So if I want a computer, I have to, so the same computer, I can go to Walmart, I can go to Best Buy, I can buy it in probably, maybe an hour. Go in, tell them what I want, all the top bells and whistles. I want a camera, I want this, I want that. I could do that in probably an hour. Probably pay maybe 2,500 for the top of the line, really good one. But and I work for the state, it doesn't work that way. So you would think that like, oh hey, I could be just reimbursed, blah blah blah. No. So working for the state, what happens is I have to put in a bid. So that means it goes to IT. I tell IT what I want on the computer. So IT then puts in a bid with Dell. We have to use the Dell Direct because it's working for the state. They'll put in a bid. They'll send it back to me saying, "Is this what you want?" Then I say yes. Then I have to put it in again, and probably like 3 months later, for like $5,000 more, I have a computer, and that's just kind of this the way it works. You have to go up the chart and down the chart. So when it comes to all of those questions that talk about making decisions, and like you can't make the decision, you have to go up and ask your boss and all that good stuff. That's bureaucracy.
okay, and then the one with, then the Y theory.
The why theory is yes. That one is, excuse me, that one is the one that it's the human relations theory. That's the one that people like yes.
And what would be an example of someone working at a place that has,
Most most social service agencies.
okay,
Okay, so what happens um, is in the agency, they're run by social workers. But the boss is a social worker, and many times she doesn't want to make a decision, so she will support the agency, like the person, like oh yay yay yay. Okay, but the problem with that is it takes 17 years to get anything done. So when social workers get together and everybody has an input and everybody talks about it, like oh my gosh, just make a decision already. We have to process it to death.
okay, so then, like, when I worked for the state of Maryland, that would have been more like the Weber.
Well, so if you needed, if your computer died, if you needed,
Oh Lord,
you know,
yeah.
order of like, I'm trying to think of something you had to order. So if you wanted something special, what did it look like?
Oh, might not have ever gotten it, or you. It was hard to get it. Difficult to be able to get anything there.
Got it. You got it.
So that would have been, yeah. That would be the So social service would be the Y, the
Hmm.
and the Webers would be like the state, or probably the city too, because that
Hmm.
actually was a city. And then I worked for the state. and that would take forever to get anything. And then the X one, I know is the one where you get it done real quick, like you said, the Volkswagen and all. But what
Hmm.
would be an example of one that's would be a in the social work field of the X theory?
So most often that's probably not. We don't use a lot of those in social work theory.
Okay.
So maybe if you work for like Alexa off.
7:30 a.m. alarm stopped on mom's bedroom.
So like if you work for like Blue Cross Blue Shield, like some of those like utilization people,
Uh-huh.
they have to produce so much. You have to be in at your desk on the phone at least such a certain percent of the time.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that is one.
Now I don't know what kind of questions they'll ask about these on the test. I don't know, but
So I can find one.
that would be a test.
Just 72.
Okay. I got the old people's reading magnified. I don't know. I don't think I need it though. Let's see. An organizational chart does not provide information concerning grouping of components in a functional basis, financial sources and budgeting, superior subordinate relationships, division of work in the components, and so the excuse me, the organizational chart then would be the X.
That is under Weber. That's bureaucracy theory.
Okay, that down. Yeah, I have a copy of that chart.
Okay.
I think it's that yellow chart. It's
So it
under.
doesn't matter. Everyone looks I mean, they look differently for every agency.
Okay, let's see. So an organizational chart does not include information. So I'll think about what it does include. That seems to work better for me.
Mm-hmm.
Grouping of components on a functional basis, financial sources and budgeting, superior subordinate relationships, division of work. I think in the components, it might be about finances. I don't think it's on there.
Okay.
I think I
So
have my
group
chart
components on a functional basis. It definitely tells you who does what and who's your boss. And you're right, has nothing to do with finances. It has to do with how the agency runs and who's who to who's who and who you answer to.
And the chart that I have here, well, it has probably a made up name of
Yeah.
a CEO of Melky Davis.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now that's that's an example of the Webbers or the other
Mm-hmm.
one.
What's Weber's bureaucracy theory?
Okay, this is an example of Weber's. All right, because I had these in my notebook, and then yeah, I've got the X and the Y. All right, yeah, those. So I had the question about that, and now the other question I had was about the code of ethics.
Okay. Go ahead. I'm listening.
Oh, okay. I thought you were
Mm-hmm.
looking for something.
I am.
Okay,
If I find one, I'll. But yeah.
yeah. The code of ethics, when it comes to the peer reviews, for example, I suppose that if, like, a social worker violated one of the things, not things, but in the code of ethics, maybe I'm trying to think when they would have a peer review would be something about violation of
Mm-hmm.
maybe it
So
could be
go
a
ahead.
dual relationship or something.
So no. So pretty much, if you believe your therapist or your doctor, anybody else has done something unethical. So it's not a police report. You'd call the board. You'd call the board of medical, the board of hairdresser, the board of whoever to report them.
And then that's when they hold a peer review.
So most often, yes.
Okay, what now? Because one time I reported my doctor,
Okay. Did you ever
and
find out the results?
oh, well, he didn't lose his license, but they just had to include what I said in the record, and basically, to make the story short, but it was about my I needed my gallbladder out, and he kept getting on the phone and telling me. He said all you need to do is go to biofeedback, and that's going to help you with swallowing. I wasn't having any trouble with that. I had classic, and I would never do this unless it was something like this had happened. I had classic gallbladder symptoms,
Hmm.
and then my husband's doctor happened to call here, and she wasn't my doctor. She's a really nice woman, good doctor. And I
Hmm.
was telling her about it, and she said, well, if you want me to, you can come in and we'll see and all that. So I went in there to see her, and then she sent me for a test. Now this went on for 5 months,
Hmm.
and then now you know how when you go for a test, they're not supposed to tell you the results.
Right.
Well, I was in there, and this is unusual for me. I was in there by that time crying. And I
Oh
told the
no.
woman, I said, I'm not crying over there's nothing to this test. It's about finding out what's causing this. And then she was real nice. And then she came in and she told me, or actually the person who did the test, he said, you have multiple gallstones. So I was running around with those. Yeah,
Hmm.
so I
Wow.
reported to the medical board.
And then what happened?
Well, then they reviewed it, and they just had to put what I had in writing in my record. What I wrote, what my symptoms were, and what I felt that the doctor had not done correctly. I mean, because when your gallbladder I don't know if you've ever had gallbladder problems, but
I
you'll
have
get
not, thank
like
goodness.
around, it'll go around your back. I mean, it's classic. I didn't know then, but I know now. So yeah, they just wrote that whenever that, and this was years ago, gosh, whenever I would have to have my record sent to another doctor, that the cop, like, that doctor's record would go along with what I wrote up.
Right.
Because I didn't want it to look like I had a lump in my throat and needed biofeedback. Because I knew, I kept saying, look, there's something physically wrong with me. It's nothing about biofeedback here. So anyway, I got it out, and a lot of times these things work out for the good, because the surgeon, he was really nice. In fact, he stayed in the room while until my husband, he had low blood sugar, and after surgery he sat in my room until my husband had to go eat and come back, and they don't usually do that. But anyway, he referred me to the doctor I've seen now for probably 20 years. He said, I did, and she was just going into practice. He said, if you want, Linda, he said, there's a doctor that I can refer you to that works with people that have difficult problems like food allergies and things that need to be figured out with the colon. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and so I've gone there ever since, to this woman. So, but yeah, I did report them.
Okay.
That's the only time I've ever done that.
Well, I was
But
going to say that. So it's the same thing for us, the exact same thing.
like if somebody felt that whatever we did with social work wasn't
Mm-hmm.
correct. I had
Mm-hmm.
one inmate at the jail who said he was going to sue me, but everybody was suing everybody on there, and
Mm-hmm.
nothing came of that.
Okay. But just know, so the same thing. If you did something, someone didn't like what you did, then they would do the same thing. They would report to the board. Now, and then you might get a notification that you're being investigated. Sometimes they'll tell you that you can't work while you're being investigated. Um,
Okay.
so, but and then you'll get the response. So the committee will make a decision.
And then, so like for the peer review, do they call the people in, or they just go over
No,
whatever?
no. Peer review is just they might do an information before. So someone might have called this person and somebody else might have called this person. So it might have happened before any of this happened, but in general, then no. It would
Okay.
speak to the committee.
But it's a committee of the board from the
Mm. Of other
board of
social workers. Yeah.
yeah.
And they're just other social workers. So yeah.
I've seen some things I saw before in the newsletter where somebody lost their license because of something, or it was suspended because of something. So I guess they had peer review, and then
Hmm.
I haven't seen it for a long time. I haven't been reading that newsletter, but yeah, I saw that, and so when I was reading the code of ethics, I just wondered how they did that. This peer
Hmm.
review, if they
Yeah.
had like held a board where people went in or what. Okay, yeah, that was the one question about the code of ethics that I had.
Okay. Here. You see my screen? Let's do a couple of these questions.
Okay,
Get number 24.
okay. A social worker in a family agency is served with a court order requiring her to produce the case records of a client involved in a divorce proceeding. The worker should first, okay, so it's a first question. Social worker, and it's a family agency. Now it's a court order. Didn't say it come from a lawyer. Or okay, so the first worker should first comply immediately. Here's this one of these do nothings. Do nothing until talking with the client. Well, you would be doing something. Call the agency supervisor, speak to the supervisor. Well, you wouldn't comply immediately.
Mm-hmm.
The agency's attorney. No. Let's see. So it's between do nothing until but that do nothing, until talking with a client or speak to the supervisor. I guess this might be one of the cases where you would speak to the supervisor, or would
Okay.
you could the do nothing is what's throwing me off with this. I mean, I'm going to do something.
Okay. So why we go to a supervisor in this one?
Um, well, yeah, I guess I wouldn't really need to
I didn't
go
say
to
you wouldn't. Nope,
supervisor.
nope. I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
Okay. Just to let the
Okay.
social
So
worker know
it,
that you've been given this court order and the
okay.
client.
So because you work in a family agency, so you're working in an agency. Okay. So you should not go. If you work in an agency, you're not going to follow the court order without going up the chain of command. Now, if you're
Okay.
not, yes, if you're not in the, if you work by yourself, private practice, then you're going to, do what you're supposed to do. It's a court, right? It's a court order. So the court order, you're going to make sure that you show up with the records. You're going to say, Your Honor, this is privileged information, all that good stuff. However, if you're working in if you're court ordered, then you're not going to do that. I mean, if you work for agency, you're going to give it to someone else and see what your boss says do.
Okay. And this, now, if I come across any questions that start off hmm, with do nothing
That's
until
never the
talk,
right answer.
with even even though you are doing something in here, I mean, do nothing until talking with a client. Just the fact, like if I see the word it says do nothing,
Mm-hmm.
then just know it's not the right one.
Exactly.
Even if it says do nothing like this one until talking with a client. So it's
Nope.
never going to say do nothing and be right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, while I'm thinking about it, you said, I didn't know what test you wanted me to do, but you said you were going to have some, unless we're going over questions and you're seeing where I am, you were going to have me do some tests and see what I needed to work on. That's what it was.
Yes, I was. Let's see here.
And like if you want to send it to me or something, I didn't know if
I'll
you
do
want.
that. Yeah, I'll do that. Thank you. That's a good idea.
Yeah, because I wasn't sure about if I should be looking for questions on my own, or and
Hmm.
then I forgot
Well, I
to
was gonna
ask you.
say you have tons of questions.
Oh, I had to, but I didn't know if you had like a specific test
I was
that.
gonna send you a sample test, but if you
Okay,
have one that you want to do, that's fine by me.
well I'll go ahead and do yours.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so you're just email it to me,
I
or
will. I will.
okay, and then yeah, I work on that, and then the questions with that. Well, just questions.
Mhm. Look at 26. These are all kind of the planning questions, how to run an agency.
Okay. Efficiency in a social service agency is best defined by the ability of the agency to achieve its goals, zero based budgeting, the resources extended to achieve a goal, objective management. Efficiency in a social service agency. is best defined by the ability of the agency to achieve its goals, zero-based budgeting, resources expended to achieve a goal. So for efficiency, it's kind of tricky for this one.
Okay. So that talks about cost effectiveness and cost benefit. And cost benefit has to do with like um, benefit has to do with how well you how much money did I make. Effectiveness did this it talks about how well did we do what we were supposed to do. The money you gave us or the goals we had, were we effective?
Okay, so yeah, then the ability of the agency to achieve its goals.
You got it. You got it. That's it.
I was thinking of objective management only because I know with that you have to have goals and objectives.
Mm-hmm. Okay. But so that's a cost benefit, cost analysis.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Are we doing 27?
We are.
Okay. A staff committee is organized to develop policy alternatives and to make recommendations to the executive staff and the board.
Mm.
The committee would be considered. Okay, so it's organized to develop policy alternatives and then make recommendations to the executive board. So it would be policy making, advisory, developmental. Number four. I don't know what number four is.
Okay. Tertiary. That means, remember when we talked about secondaries, primary, secondary, and tertiary interventions?
Sort of.
So primary, secondary, and tertiary are.
Yeah, I'm gonna write these. I'm taking little notes here. Primary. Yeah, this is what this drawing this stuff out. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I should be doing more reading in a book.
So primary, secondary, and tertiary are just ways that we handle. Okay. Those are the ways that we handle um, gosh, the interventions. Okay, so we usually are going to do a primary ones. We're going to try to stop it from happening altogether. Okay, secondary, we're then going to I'm itchy there. Secondary, they've had it once, they've had it already, and we're trying to minimize it. And tertiary is then the person has the full blown whatever it is, whether it's pregnancy or drug abuse or COVID or whatever. We're going to just try to minimize.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, should I take notes on this, or do you have?
It's recording, so you can go back and watch it. And this is also it's in the APGAR book.
Okay, yeah, I've got to start reading the book.
Okay, I suggest that you read it from the back.
Yep.
So, like, stay away from those front chapters because that's where a lot of people get stuck and you're missing then all of these agency questions.
Okay. Yeah, that could be something, a goal to work on this week. Is, I mean, I'm still doing the code of ethics and all this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but start reading the book. because I've kind of stayed away from reading the book and do more listening. I like listening
And
stuff, but
that's
I
fine
read
too.
the
That is
book.
so fine. That is so fine. So you just want to make sure that you focus, that you understand, you know.
Okay. Yeah, these questions are kind of difficult for me.
Mm-hmm. Yep, these are all those agency ones.
And they're probably the ones that were some of the ones that I didn't get. Because that's
Mm-hmm.
where I'll find one of my old tests around here, and yeah, I'll see. But I know it was in that. That's why the man that I see on Tuesdays was saying, "Well, you need to get a book on." It was about assessment and ethics, and I
Mm-hmm.
said,
I don't necessarily think
"I'm
that. I
not
just think that
doing
that's, you know, you just have to understand them. I don't know. I mean, if you have the time and you enjoy reading, then I would, but I wouldn't necessarily think that's the best way.
No, I'm not doing that. I'm doing it this way. I've got so much stuff here.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, I'm working with you, and then Sunday nights are always good too. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's like
Okay,
a
so what
review.
was 27?
Okay. Is organized to develop policy, make recommendations to the executive staff. Um, I'd say it would be advisory
Okay.
because they're asked to they're organizing or developing policy alternatives, and they're making recommendations
Mm-hmm.
to the staff.
Mm-hmm.
So is that one right?
Yep, that's it. That's it. Perfect.
Oh, good. Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Get number 29.
Okay. The director of an agency wants to promote accountability to clients. Okay, he would poll workers about whether they are providing the contracted services, secure information directly from the client population, structure monthly meetings between supervisors and the agency executive, monitor service expenditures and staff use of time. Service. So he wants to promote accountability to clients. Um, promote accountability to clients. So he wants to make the accountability to clients better. So he would poll workers about whether they're providing the contract services, secure information directly from the client population, structure monthly meetings between supervisors and the agency executive, monitor service expenditures and staff use of time. Oh, let's see. Number two, secure information directly from the client population to see I don't know though.
Okay, so let's leave it out. Okay. So what's the question asking me?
Okay. Director of agency. Well, the agency, I mean, the director of the agency, he wants to promote accountability to clients. So the question is, how would he or she promote
Mm-hmm.
accountability to clients?
Exactly. Okay, so that's what I want to do is I want the clients to know that we are hold us accountable, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that's what I want. Okay. So then I'm going to poll workers about whether or not they're providing contracted services. That has anything to do with how the clients feel, right?
Right.
Okay. So then let's see here. Secure information directly from the client population. That's probably the better choice. The best choice. Structure monthly meetings between supervisors and agency staff executives. Again, that has nothing to do with how we provide it to the clients. And monitors expenditures and staff use of time. Nope. So the only question that talks about how to how we can monitor what the clients think about us is two.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Okay. Good. Six. I'm
Okay.
sorry, 30. Six with six people. Six.
Okay. 6 social workers worry about the effect of caseload increases on services. After meeting twice, they decide to request a limit on new intakes. To wait a minute, fix this thing here. To simulate discussion or stimulate, they decide to propose limiting intake interviews to 2 per week at the next staff meeting. Other staff are prepared for the discussion during coffee breaks and lunch. The social workers are involved in an informal organization, a formal organization, worker organizing, a protest movement. Well, it's not a protest movement. Um, it's it's either an informal organization or or the workers. They aren't organizing though. Um, so an informal organization.
You got it. How come? Perfect.
Okay, they don't have it like they're not real strict about anything.
Okay. So the informal has to do with people who don't have the titles after their name, right? Those are the people
Oh,
who are
that's right.
just okay. So then that these people decided, hey, let's do um let's they really made the decision in the bathroom or during the coffee breaks. So that's where the
Right.
decision really happened.
Okay.
Okay.
Get a little drink of water here.
35.
These questions just seem. I mean, I think I'm doing well. They just
They're
seem
harder. Yep.
they're hard.
They are. They sure are. They get you ready.
Mm, it's true. And now with 4 weeks coming, I mean, just from Monday it'll be 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I think I should be doing some work this weekend too. Well, I'm doing work right now,
Mm-hmm.
and then Sunday night, but also some tomorrow during the day because I didn't get the right sleep. So not keep saying, well, it's a weekend. I can work during the week, and then this other stuff comes up
Mm-hmm.
that I have to do. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I'll be ready.
Okay. Check out 35.
Okay, a social agency has a stable staff, low turnover at senior levels, and little possibility of early retirements. Last year, 6 new social workers were added to the staff. However, discontent is growing because the more talented new, new staff sense the limited possibilities for advancement. The agency director would most likely increase the salaries of the new staff, let them know of the administration's awareness of their discontent, augment in service or external educational possibilities. Huh, I want to laugh and do nothing. Do nothing until the employees. Because I hear, I mean, you're here now, but your voice saying you never do nothing.
Good, good. Good, good, good.
uh, do nothing until the employees directly express their concerns. Well, we know 4 is out.
Okay.
Okay, so let's reading over this again. Last year, 6 new workers were came. However, discontent's growing because of more talented new staff sense the limited possibilities for advancement. The agency director would most likely increase the salaries of the new staff. Let them know the administration's awareness of their discontent. Augment in service or external educational possibilities. Um well, we know it's not 4, and then I don't think they would increase the salaries of the new staff. So let them know of the administration's awareness of their discontent. Augment in service or external educational possibilities. I think it's it doesn't say first, but
Okay. So what's the problem? It's a tough one. Okay. So what's the problem? The question.
okay, the problem is new workers came. They had
Mm-hmm.
people that had been there for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
and then some new workers came. Let's see, the staff was stable, and the workers stayed there for a long time, so they didn't have possibility of early retirements. Last year, that when the new people came, they were they weren't contented because the more talented new staff sense the limited, they don't have many opportunities for advancement. So that's the problem. So to get opportunities for advancement, new director would most likely. Now this doesn't say first.
It does not. Okay. So it's not a first question. It's a problem. So last year, 6 new workers were added to the staff. but discontent is growing because the more talented new staff sense the limited possibilities for new advancement. Okay, so they've hired these. This is an agency that's had low turnover at the senior level. So they have lots of people that have been there for a long time. Okay, they got 6 new social workers, and however, the people who've been there like aren't really happy because this new young staff, um, the discontent is growing because the new talented staff sense the limited possibility of advancement. There's no place to go. Okay, because the senior staff's not leaving, so there's really no place to go.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, so how could I encourage them to want to stay? What can I offer them that would keep them happy?
I don't think it would be one, because if you would just be increasing the salaries of new staff.
Okay, and did they say it had anything to do with salaries in the question?
No.
Not at all. Not at all. It has nothing to do with their salaries. Okay.
Okay. Let them know of the administration's awareness of their discontent, or augment in-service or external educational possibilities. Now, the discontent, because they sense limited possibilities for advancement. So, if you have in-service or external educational possibilities, um, let them know of the administration's awareness of their discontent.
Okay. That's not gonna make me feel better. Just because you know I'm upset. Okay. That don't make me do something.
I'm going to do nothing. um, okay, so it would have to be boiled down to 3:
Hmm?
augment in services or external educational possibilities.
Okay.
Yeah,
So then,
that
okay. So
the
3 is the best answer, right?
yeah. I'm just wondering if that's, well, this is the test, so is that really going to help a lot? But you know what I mean.
Okay. So but that's the best answer for the test. That makes sense? That's
It
what we're looking
does.
for, is just what the best answer is.
Yeah.
Okay. So then you prove it in the question. You go back and you look for what words in the question do you that support that. So you got it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
We'll skip that one. Look at number 38.
Okay. From the agency's perspective, the most important objective of supervision is to educate workers, assist clients, promote agency goals, promote worker autonomy. So, from the agency's perspective, most important objective of supervision is to agency goals, no, promote worker autonomy. Yeah, see, all these are hard. Now, this,
Okay. So the agency perspective. Okay. So why do you do supervision? So most often it's to help clients. However, it's not to assist clients. So that's not right because you don't assist clients if you're a supervisor. Okay. Is your goal to educate the workers?
It it would be.
Not always. I mean, the assumption is that you've got a degree, you're coming in here, right? You have an education.
Oh, the reason why I was thinking educate workers, like if they had trans counter transference or something, what to do about it.
That I would agree with that. Okay.
Yeah. So then you would educate the workers if they didn't know what to do, or help the worker
Mm-hmm.
with that, you know. Right, agency goals, workers. So I guess it's either 3 or 4.
Okay. So then promote agency goals or promote worker autonomy. Okay. So agency perspective.
Well, they want to meet their goals.
Exactly. 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 So that's where we're going back to the question.
Okay.
Okay. And the answer's in the question. Always, always.
Hope
Okay.
I don't get too many of these on this.
So whether it's these or other things, the ones that you don't know, the question is learning how to answer the questions that you don't know.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, yeah, these are coming out of the social work examination book,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
your favorite book.
Mm-hmm. Old school, because it's not it's learn once you learn how to answer them, especially the questions you don't know, right? That's the issue. Is how do I learn how to answer the ones I don't know what the answer is. Let's look at 42.
Maybe I should be. I've got this book. Maybe I should be working out of this. Well, you'll send me the test, and then I could be. Maybe I should be working out this book because it's going to give me the reasons.
I don't care what book you work out of, just study, study. That's all. It doesn't matter which how you do it,
But
but
this
just
book would really be good, maybe to help me with the best. And
okay.
well, and there's I like those new questions too. You said the Abgor questions aren't that great, but the content's good.
They're just not that. Yes, exactly. Not great for first and next. She doesn't have a lot of those.
Okay. All right. So what are we on? 42.
Uh huh.
A supervisee is having difficulty relating to, understanding, and helping an adult client. Both the client and the social worker were adopted as children after having been abandoned by their families. This factor may be influencing the worker's relationship with his client. The supervisor might suggest the social worker seek therapy since the issue is unresolved. Remove the worker from the case. Focus on possible countertransference and help the worker with concrete concrete client treatment issues. Help the worker resolve the countertransference problem. So I think it's either 3 or 4.
Okay.
So focus on possible countertransference and help the worker with concrete client treatment issues, or help the worker resolve the counter transference problem. Read this again. The supervisor having difficulty relating to, understanding, and helping an adult client. Both the client and the social worker were adopted as children after having been abandoned by their families. This factor may be influencing the worker's relationship with the family. Um, some possible countertransference and help the worker with concrete client treatment issues. Concrete, or I think four, help the worker resolve the countertransference problem.
No. Remember, it's always about the client.
Okay. Focus on possible
It's three.
countertransference. Yeah, okay.
Okay. So and what matters is helping the client. I'm not sending him to therapy. I'm not doing any of those things. I'm just trying to make sure that the client um, knows that we're taking care of the client.
Okay.
Okay. You see that one all the time. 46.
Okay. What'd you say?
46. There's always one of those questions about what do you do for research?
Oh, okay. A research proposal probably would not include. Okay, so I'm going to think about what it would include. The articles of, the titles of articles likely to be published from the outcome of the research project. What the expected research conclusions will show. How this study will be conducted. Why this study is necessary. I think it's two. That's not going to show what the expected research conclusions will show.
It will. It will. One second. Hello? Hello? Uh-huh. Yes. Okay. Can you call me back in like an hour? Okay. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay.
Okay. So then, so the answer is, let's see here. The title of the article to be published from the outcome of the research project. Not necessarily. What the expected research conclusion will show. Maybe how the study will be conducted, why the study is necessary. Okay, so you should probably in this one be able to find out why it was necessary. One of the things that a research article will always say is there's a gap in some area of the research. That's why we're doing this study.
You know what? I think I read the question wrong, and because it's saying would not include, and I was thinking of what it would include.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Those are always tough, I think.
So it's number four then.
Yes.
Why this study is necessary.
No, no, no. I'm sorry. You were right. The title, would you say one? Okay,
Um.
so that why is necessary is included. How the study will be conducted is included. What it should show is included. The title is what is the not answer.
Okay, I said what the expected research conclusions will show.
Okay, so that it would show. What we would not expect to know is why the title.
The titles of articles likely to be published. Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Okay, I don't know what the titles would be. Okay.
I'm telling you, these questions. Oh.
I know I'm making you think this early in the morning. Look at 48.
Okay. An agency director has a policy disagreement with a public agency that provides funds for several agency programs. While the board agrees with the director, they also believe the director is managing the conflict poorly and that he may be unnecessarily confrontive. The board has hired a consultant to advise them in this situation. To advise them. In this situation, the consultant might advise the board to read the whole thing over, but I will read the answers first. Allow the consultant to interview and help the director, express their support for the director, and request a plan for resolving problems with a public agency. Suggest the assistant director resolve the problems. Express their fear that the director's actions are threatening the agency's programs, and suggest that the board should not renew the director's contract. Okay, I'll read it again. The question: an agency director has a policy disagreement with a public agency that provides funds for several agency programs.
Hmm?
While the board agrees with the director, they also believe the director is managing the conflict poorly and that he may be unnecessarily confrontative. The board has hired a consultant to advise them. In this situation, the consultant might advise the board to. Okay, so what's going to the consultant advise the board after he or she does whatever they're going to do? This might advise the board to allow the consultant to interview and help the director. Board agrees. They agree with the director. They also believe he's managed a conflict poorly. So allow the consultant to interview and help the director. Express her support for the director and request a plan for resolving the problems with the public agency. Suggest the assistant director resolve the problems. I don't think it would be 3. Express their fear that the director's actions are threatening the agency's problems and suggest that the board should not renew the director's contract. I
Okay.
think it's
So
either.
what's the problem?
Okay, they have an agency director who has a policy disagreement with a public agency
Hmm.
that provides funds for several agency programs.
Okay.
So he or she has a policy disagreement with a public
Okay.
agency.
Okay. And they're giving this is their but they're financing people, aren't they? No.
Yeah.
So it goes to the board to manage a conflict that he may be unnecessarily unconfrontive. But yeah, that's the funding. They're worried about the funding.
Okay. So just yeah. No. Consultant might advise the board to express their fear that the director's actions are threatening the agency's programs and suggest that the board should not renew the director's contract.
Okay, so do we want to get rid of him already?
No.
Okay, so then express their fear that the director's actions are threatening the agency and suggest the board not renew the contract. Let's hold off to that one. That's 4. Express the assistant director resolve the problem. No. Express their support for the director and request a plan for resolving their problems with the agency, or allow the consultant to intervene and help the director. Okay, so you brought this guy on, and you think that he is just very overly aggressive, unnecessarily confrontive, and you might lose money. So the goal is, what is the consultant's role?
Well, the consultant is just to come in and get information and then come
Leave,
up
right?
right and leave.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. So then he's gonna investigate the issue, and then he's gonna make a recommendation to the board members. So then we know it's not 1, because we don't do that. And the consultant can't come in and intervene. We don't do that. So now we're down to 2 or 4.
Okay. Express their support for the director and request a plan for resolving the problems with a public agency. Express their fear that the director's actions are threatening the agency's programs. I think so. We're with 2 and 4, so it would be 2.
Got it. You got it.
Yeah, we
We
don't
don't want to
want
fire him yet.
to fire him. Yeah, I thought that was a little bit extreme.
Yeah, we just don't want to fire him yet. We might down the road. Okay. Yeah.
Let
Okay.
me get a little drink of water.
I'm gonna grab some coffee real quick. So if you wanna
Okay.
look at 53, I'll be right back. Okay.
Alrighty. Okay. Community Fund Survey feels that the minority community is poorly served by programs funded by the agency. To redress the balance, resources must be redirected and reallocated. Several agencies are recommended for termination. One agency executive is convinced that his program meets a minority community need, but that the work is poorly understood. The first step in saving the program would be to sent a letter to all fund community fund agencies suggesting that the process was flawed and that their interest has been served is best served by joining with him in challenging the decision. Prepare a detailed study of the population served and the program's accomplishments. Mobilize board and community support and ask the community to reconsider its decision. Redesign the service to respond to the community's funds criticism and seek a change in the decision next year. Rails the community, the press. Okay. Community fund survey reveals that the minority community is poorly served by programs funded by the agency.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm reading this one out. I find it better when I read them out loud, than when I just
I
read
would
them.
agree. I would totally agree.
A community fund survey reveals that the minority community is poorly served by programs funded by the agency. Community fund survey reveals that. To redress the balance, the resources should be redirected and reallocated. Several agency programs are recommended for termination. One agency executive is convinced that his program meets a minority community need, but that the work is poorly understood. The first step in saving the program would be to, this is a first question.
Okay.
Some,
What's
yeah.
the problem?
The problem is that the minority community is being poorly served by the programs funded by the agency.
Mm-hmm.
They
But he
did
believes
it.
they're doing a good job, doesn't he? The agency, one agency executive is convinced that the program meets the need, but their
Yeah.
work is not understood. So he probably needs to make people understand like what they do.
Okay. Send a letter to all community fund agencies suggesting that the process was flawed and that their interest is best served by joining with him in challenging the decision. Prepare a detailed study of the population served and the program's accomplishments. Mobilize board and community support and ask the community to reconsider its decision. Redesign the service to respond to the community funds criticism and seek a change in the decision next year. Arouse the press and community and bring pressure on the community fund. I don't think they need to do 4 yet.
Okay.
Let's see. So we're with 3. We just redesign the services to respond to the community fund's criticism and seek a change in the decision next year. Prepare a detailed study of the population served and the program's accomplishments. Mobilize board staff and community support and ask the community fund to reconsider its decision. Or 2, send a letter to all community fund agencies suggesting that the process was flawed. thinking that it might be number 2.
Okay. A
Prepare a
detailed study of the population served and the program's accomplishment. Mobilize the board and preparing a detailed study. Perfect. Because what we're trying to do is let people know like what we do, right? Because they're saying that they don't, you're not serving this population, but they are. People just don't know it.
Okay,
Okay. Does that make sense?
it does.
Okay.
What section of your book, or
It's under administrative,
yeah, I
but
see
it's
it's
in,
in
yeah.
F8.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could go. Well, I said what I was going to do. I think I should look at some of these.
Okay, number
Being
60. Yeah. These are more those independent, those indirect questions that people struggle with.
yeah, a social worker can, contrary to her own beliefs about the case, recommends that a disturbed child remain at home with her family. The worker believes that the child's presence in the home will disrupt family relationships and the adjustment of the other children in the family.
Okay.
The recommendation reflects the influence of agency policies, emphasizing the maintenance of children in the family as a first priority. Okay, this illustrates a cooperative effort with agency administration, a tendency a tendency to follow the rules and regulations of an organization for their own sake, an incorrect assessment of a practice situation, a good use of professional distance and judgment. Okay, so worker recommends that disturbed child remain at home with her family. The worker believes that the child's presence in the home will disrupt family relationships and the adjustment of the other children in the family. The recommendation reflects the influence of agency policies, emphasizing maintenance of children in the family as the first priority. So it's like you should keep your kids, have the kids there no matter what. This illustrates a cooperative, I mean, it, yeah, cooperative effort with agency administration, a tendency to follow the rules and regulations of an organization for their own sake, an incorrect assessment of a practice situation, a good use of professional um, judgment, a good use of professional distance and judgment. Well,
Okay, so recommends the agency's policy. Which one of those is a policy about the maintaining of children in the family as a first priority?
let's see. Let's see the recommendation. Wait a minute, and the adjustment of the other children family. The recommendation reflects the influence of agency policies,
Mm-hmm.
emphasizing the maintenance of children in the family. So they want the first priority for the agency is to keep the child in the family.
Right.
So would be their the policy. So this illustrates but the worker, she doesn't, he or she, they don't agree with it,
Correct.
but they're gonna,
Do it anyway, it sounds like.
yeah, do it anyway. So a cooperative effort with agency administration, um, a tendency to follow the rules. Now this one, a tendency to follow the rules and regulations of an
Mm-hmm.
organization for their own sake.
Mm-hmm.
Now
For
for
the
their own,
agency's sake, not the client, not the.
okay. Yeah, that's what I was wondering about, for their own sake. An incorrect assessment of a practice situation. Um, like I said, I don't think it's 3 or 4,
Okay.
so it's either 1 or 2.
Okay.
A cooperative effort with agency administration, or a tendency to follow the rules and regulations of an organization.
Okay. Do you see anything in the question about the administration?
Um,
There's not one word about the administration there, is it?
no.
Ah, okay.
Oh, okay, I see what you mean. So it would be 2.
Mm-hmm. You got it.
Yeah.
She doesn't agree, but because she works for the agency, she's going to represent the agency. It doesn't say the kid's in a danger, right? I mean,
Right.
um, she's not like saying, "Hey, wait a minute, I'm putting a kid in a dangerous situation." She just doesn't believe it.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. I've told you enough for today. So I will
So,
send you.
oh, okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay, yes, I will send you this recording and I'll send you a sample test. So get you prepared,
Now,
get you motivated.
how many days, not days, I mean, how many hours a day? I know you said, you were saying before, like, study an hour or so a day. I don't think
Uh
that's
huh.
enough. I think I better step it up.
Okay, as long as you're maintaining the information, that's all I want you
Right,
to do is make sure that you can retain it.
right. And that, I mean, not study for, 8 hours a day.
Yeah,
That's too much. And
and you
then
can't
make,
get burnt out, but
huh?
and don't get burnt out. But at this point, I'd probably just doing some practice tests to see what you don't know, and that way you're honing and you're studying on what you don't know.
Okay, so I'll do the practice test first, is what you're saying.
Uh huh.
Okay. All right. That
And the
sounds like
areas you
a
have
plan.
no idea about, then that's where you study.
Right. I kind of know what some of them are. Like the research. I mean, I went over them, but I don't know all those definitions and stuff.
And we
I
definitely need to
know.
get a session in on that. Just make sure that we know what those terms are and what they look like. So definitely.
Okay, because we still have, I think, 4 sessions left right
Uh-huh.
after today. Is
Yeah.
it 4?
Yep.
Plus the meetings.
Yep.
So that, yeah. I think my anxiety's kicking up, and it's not even, I mean, it's a month away.
Well, but anxiety is a good thing. That's going to keep you motivated.
Yeah, that's true. It will.
Too high can't is not a good thing, but enough to keep you motivated is really good.
Right, because that gets you going instead of laying around in bed eating cake and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
How's your
All
Scrabble
right.
friend?
Huh?
How's your Scrabble friend?
Oh, that sort of that is a weird friend. I mean, like he's not taking wasn't taking his turns,
Hmm.
and then I got kind of angry about that, and I said, you know, I didn't say it like that. Well, I did say it in an angry tone, and
Like
then
it would take him like days to get back to
yeah,
the.
and
Okay.
I did apologize for my tone because I
Okay.
said people have different reasons why they can't take their turns, but I said Scrabble is it's I like it when people take their turns, and it's a serious thing to me,
Hmm. Hmm.
And then so then he wasn't talking to me until last night. He after I well, after I wrote this in anger, then I wrote and apologized, and then last night he said hi. So I think we're gonna end up just not playing any games.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, I think that's for better. He's a better player than me anyway. I mean, he knows. He told me he knows like 4 languages. I could tell because he knows some really big words. So yeah, I just think that's probably the best thing to do. But we could still remain friends.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Being as if because I don't like it when people are angry at me, and he wouldn't, wasn't speaking to me. So after I said, and I told him, I said I've like two or three of these games I forfeited. I said I'm not forfeiting again. I said you're taking the loss this time. If that isn't silly, fighting over I don't even know this person. And then when I first met him and we were talking over the chat, and I said they have a lot of bots on here. I think he takes stuff personally, like me, because he said, "What, you think I'm a bot?" I said, "I never said that."
What does that mean, bots?
Oh, it's like they put in. I didn't know what it was either. I knew then, but it took me a while to find out it's not a real person. There's a computer.
Ah, okay.
And, yeah, and it's because basically it's a new program, and they're not. A lot of people aren't liking this, so they're having to fill it in with bots.
Gotcha. So you have someone to play against.
Yeah. So he thought I was calling him a bot. I said no. But anyway, he said last night he said hello to me, so I assume he did. It was wrong when I, blasted him out about
I don't think it's
it.
wrong. If you were going to play a game and make a commitment, then that's part of it. So,
Yeah, it is. So this time, I mean, if he doesn't, I'm not playing. I don't want to play games with him. If the games will just you nudge the person, and then a red line comes on it,
hmm.
and then I didn't know how it would work, but then it just said that the person has timed out, and that you get the win. I told him I'm
Gotcha.
getting the win this time. I
And
told him I
before you
was
would just forfeit?
I did twice, but I told him I'm competitive, and I'm not doing that this time with
Is it
this.
on purpose, you think? Who did that so you wouldn't, that he would forfeit and he would get a win? Was that purposeful or he was just busy? What do you think?
I don't know because I don't even know what he does.
Hmm. Hmm.
I don't know. Then I thought, well, maybe he's on drugs or something. You don't know about these people. These
It's kind of hard to play Scrabble on drugs, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true. Would be, but maybe he's just busy. But I'll see him because you can see who's on there, and I'll see him on there for a while. But he
Hmm.
won't take my turn. So if he's not,
Oh,
and
so
that's
he's
what I wrote.
playing. Okay.
Yeah, so that's what I wrote, and I told
Gotcha.
him.
So
Yeah,
why
I said,
apologize for that though?
oh, it was the way I said it, the
Okay.
way I wrote it. I was angry. and I said in an angry tone. So yeah, it's straightened out now. I just don't think that we're meant to be playing this game together.
Do does it cost you to play?
Well, that's another thing. My husband and I were talking about that. You can be in the Scrabble club. It was $4.99. Now it's this is on the new site. Now it's $7.99
$7.99 per what?
per month.
Okay, okay.
And my husband, he doesn't want to be in this Scrabble club. I wanted to be in it. Well, we finally decided it's okay if I stay in it because I said, "What am I doing?"
Is he in a
After
different
the,
one?
no, he's in this on the same board. Oh,
Okay.
Brianna! Hey, listen to this. Brianna's playing,
Oh, cool.
and she's liking it. And I tried not to, I didn't want to like put words in place where I get umpteen points. I've been playing 10 years, but no, she likes it. I'm real happy with that.
Very cool.
But anyway, and it was her idea to play. She just started playing, and then she said, "I like playing." I said, "Well, good." I said, "I can show you some things, and we'll use this Collins dictionary." But now my husband, he said about the $7.99. He was saying, "Well, now that's $7.99, and oh, multiplying it for 10 years." I said, "What am I doing in this house?"
Do you have to does Brown have to pay another $7.99 a month too?
No, she's not in it.
Oh, right. Oh, so you can play without being in the club.
Yeah, I just wanted
Gotcha.
to be in it because you get better prizes, and you get
Okay.
like a lot of people don't like these bells and whistles. You get different tiles, and you
Gotcha.
get a few more points on stuff. But he was saying about the money, and I said, "Well, what am I doing? I don't go to Weight Watchers anymore. I don't go to the gym. I don't drive with any gas. I sit in the house." So then
You
he said,
got it.
"Yeah, that's true." He said, "Well," and I said, "I don't want to feel guilty about being in this club." I said, "It's like all or nothing thinking." I said, "I've got to be doing something or I'm going to go nuts."
Got it. Okay, I got another client coming up, so I will see you later on tonight.
Or tomorrow night.
Oh God, today's only Saturday, isn't it? Woo. Okay. My day. It's because I run by. I swear.
Oh, yes. Now,
Okay.
so do you want me to remind you for the test and the recording?
I'm gonna try to do it shortly, so that's why if I hang up now, I'll have time to do it before my next session
Okay.
starts. Okay.
All right.
Okay. Okay. Bye bye.
Bye.